This conference will now be recorded.
So in the previous session, we have discussed about the email cookies, how to configure email cookies to create the case records just by sending an email notification to the specified routing address by describing the problem inside the email description. We can create a case record also. So now today we see the concept of profiles. So already we have discussed about the concept of profiles, but now we will go in detail, some more in detail. I would like to dig into this concept. So that already you know that when coming to the profile is a component which contains some set of permissions to be get assigned to one or more users inside the application. So whenever I'm creating the user, for each user we are assigning a license. So it depends upon the license type. It will grant some set of permissions to the user. Each license will be granting the access on some set of features. But from those features, if you want to control those features, if you want to restrict some of the features inside that, then we can use the help of profile. So license is granting some full permission. But through profile we can control. Like for example, assume that I have a driving license of some four-wheeler. So driving license means what? I'm having the permission to drive the vehicle on the road. But now tell me, can I drive the vehicle with a 200 kilometer speed? Okay. So in city, no, because in city there is a huge traffic. So many people are passing passing on the roads. If there is any areas there which is having nearby, there is some schools are available, there you have to go a bit slow. So for that one, they are going to be appointing some traffic police people. Even though you are having the license, even though you are a licensed person to drive the vehicle on the road, but you can't drive that vehicle with overspeed. You can't drive the vehicle with overspeed. You can't go with the 200 kilometer speed, okay, in the area where we are having some schools and where we are having some small kids are moving around that area. We can't go with that. That's what they are going to be indicating some speed breakers. That means that they are giving some break, nothing but please don't go that much of speed. Please reduce that. Go with some 20 kilometer speed per hour, or 30 kilometer speed, or 10 kilometer speed. Because so nearby this place we are having so many schools are there, so many kids are passing through this area. So please go with a slow speed. That's what in that area you will be having some speed breakers are there, which are controlling your speed, okay, which are controlling your vehicle speed. So it's like as a brake. You can't go with that much of speed. And that too, you will be having some traffic police people will be moving around that place so that these people keep on watching who are going with the overspeed. They will control that. Like the similar way, now upon creating the user record, we are giving the license. That license is granting the permissions on some features. But from those features, if you want to control, if you want to restrict some of the features, then we are using a mediator component called as profile. So when coming to the profile is nothing but a component which contains some set of permissions which can be get assigned to one or more number of users. That means whatever the profile we have created, in that profile we can define what features the user can access, and then that same profile we can assign to multiple users also. Why? Because there are some users are available who are in the same designation, who are in the same role, who are in the same hierarchy. So for those people, I want to grant the same features access. So at that time, so we no need to create a separate profile for each and every user. We can assign that same profile to the multiple people also. That possibility is available. So that instead of creating a separate profile for each and every user, the same profile we can assign to one or more number of users also. Now, so in this case, when coming to the profile is nothing but a component which contains some set of permissions can be get assigned to one or more users inside the organization. Now, so in this case, when coming to the profile, upon creating the user record, profile is a mandatory. Okay, while creating the user, profile is a mandatory. Okay, upon creating the user, profile is a mandatory field. Without assigning the profile, we can't create the user. That already you know that while creating the user, we need two things as mandatory. One is license, second one is profile. Without license or without profile, we can't create the user. Both are mandatory. Okay, both are mandatory upon creating the user. Now, so in this case, whenever we are going to be creating the profile, each and every profile is associated with a license. Each profile should be associated with a license, and with one license type, we can have multiple profiles also. That facility is available to you that already we have discussed. Now let me give this note points so that we can remember these points again. Profile is nothing but a component or feature which contains a set of permissions to be get assigned to one or more users inside the application. More users inside the application. Now, while creating the user, we need a profile. That is, each user should be associated with a profile. But the profile can be assigned to one or more users inside the application. But the profile can be assigned to one or more users. Now, each profile is associated with a license. But a license can have one or more associated profiles. Now, in this case, so now when coming to the profile, so now where all the profiles information will get resides, all the profiles information will be getting resides inside an object called as profile object. All the profiles information will get resides inside the profile object. Profile is a standard object in which all the profiles information will be getting resides. Now, so now in this case, how many types of profiles are available? We have two types of profiles in Salesforce. Two types of profiles. First one is, you know that, standard profiles. Second one, custom profiles. Standard profiles and custom profiles. These are the two types of profiles are available as part of your Salesforce instance. But that already told you, upon creating the user record, don't assign the standard profiles. If you don't assign standard profiles, please create your own custom profile by cloning an existing one and assign that custom profile to your users. So don't assign any standard profile to the users. Create your own custom profile and assign that custom profile to your users. Why? Because is standard profiles are not fully editable, not fully customizable. Okay, but so for that one, so now if it is a custom profile, custom profiles are fully editable. That means you can able to modify all the options available inside the profile, so that here we can grant the permissions on whatever the features that you want with the help of this custom profile. So that here standard profiles are not recommended to assign to the users. Please create your own custom profile by cloning an existing one and assign that custom profile to your users. Okay, now so now here in this case, it is always recommended to create our own custom profiles by cloning an existing one and assign the custom profile to the users. It is always recommended to create our own custom profiles by cloning an existing one and then assign that custom profile to your users. Don't assign standard profiles because custom profiles are fully editable. The custom profiles are fully editable so that we can grant the permissions on whatever the features that you want. That facility is available. So that here, don't assign standard profiles. Please assign custom profiles to your users. Now, so now here in this case, so by using these profiles, what we can do? By using these profiles, we can able to grant the permissions on the various features. What features? We can grant the permissions on applications, tabs, objects, operations on each object, fields, page layouts, record types, general permissions, custom permissions, system permissions, administrative permissions, session settings, password policies, Apex classes, Visualforce pages, named credentials, external data sources, connected apps, login hours, login IP ranges, everything. On all these features, we can grant a permission to permissions. So we can grant the permissions on all the features of your organization at one place, that is called as profile. Profile is the only place where we can able to grant all the permissions at one place. Whatever the features are there inside your organization, on all the features. That means here we can grant the permissions on the application. That means what applications the user can access, what tabs the user can access, what objects the user can access, what operations the user can perform on each and every object, what fields the user can access, what page layouts the user can access, what record types the user can access, what general permissions, system permissions, custom permissions, administrative permissions can be granted to the user, what session settings to be applicable for the user, what password policies to be applicable to the user, what Apex classes the user can invoke, what Visualforce pages the user can access, what login hours can be applicable, what login IP ranges can be applicable, what external data sources he can access, what named credentials he can access, what connected apps he can access, and everything. On all these features, we can grant the permissions at one place, that is profile. So profile is the only place where we can grant all the permissions at one place. So now here in this case, how can we grant the permissions on each and every feature? Now let's see practically. Let me list out this one. I will list out the options first, and then I will show you the practical part of each and everything one by one. By using profiles, we can grant the permissions on the below features. First one, by using profiles, we can specify what applications the user can access. Second, we can specify what tabs the user can access. The user can access. We can specify what objects the user can access. And we can specify what operations the user can perform on each object. And we can specify what fields the user can access. And we can specify what general permissions to be get applicable to the user. We can specify what custom permissions to be applicable. We can specify what administrative permissions to be applicable. And we can specify what system permissions to be applicable. We can specify what page layouts the user can access. And then we can specify what record types to be applicable for each user. And we can specify the default record type for each object. For each object, we can define the default record type also. We can specify session settings. And we can specify the password policies. Password policies to be applicable. And then we can specify what Apex classes the user can invoke. And then we can specify what Visualforce pages the user can access. And then we can specify what login hours to be applicable. And we can specify what login IP ranges to be applicable. We can specify what external data sources can be accessible. We can specify what connected apps can be accessible. And we can specify what named credentials can be accessible. All these things we can define inside in one place, that is called as profile. So profiles are used to grant the permissions on all these applications. So now whenever you are working in any of the organization, suppose if any of the customer or any of the end user has raised a request that I'm unable to access this feature, then the problem is profile. Simple, straightforward. Go to that user's profile and then grant the permissions on that particular feature based on the approval of your manager. Directly we can't grant the permission to the end user because it requires some approval, because I'm not the actual decision maker in the organization. So we need the approval of the manager. Based on the approval, then only we can grant the permission to that particular user. Now, so like the similar way here also, directly we can't grant the permissions on these features to the users. We need the approval of the manager. Based on the approval, whatever the higher person is available, we need the approval. Once he got approved, then we can able to grant the permissions on the feature to the end user or customer or whatever, anything. So now in this case, how can we grant the permissions on each and every feature? Okay, now let's see practically. Now, the first one is we can indicate what applications the user can access. Then how can we do that? Now let's see. Suppose, for example, let me log in into my Salesforce instance. Now, so this is my organization. So in my organization, I'm having so many applications, because all the standard applications are there. Along with, I'm having my custom applications also, because the story policy is there, talent acquisition process is there, all these things. For example, I'm having a user. Let me go to the users. I'm having a user called as a development user. There is a user called as development user, for example. So now this development user is associated with which profile? He is associated with a profile called as CIS Salesforce profile. This is the profile. Now this user can access what application I want to know. Then how can we cross check that? Simply we can go to that login and then log in into this development user account and then verify what applications he can access. Now this person is able to access almost all the applications, all standard, all custom applications he is accessing. Why? Because he is having a profile which is related to the Salesforce license. He is having the Salesforce license or a profile, so that this user can able to access all the standard and all the custom applications available inside my organization. Now, he is able to access sales application, service application, marketing, community, site.com, Salesforce charter, content, all tabs, including my custom objects also, that is story pulse and then talent acquisition process. These two custom applications also he can access. That means he can access both standard and custom applications available inside this organization. Okay, now my requirement is, for this person, I want to grant the access on only on sales application, service application, and then talent acquisition application. Only these three applications you can able to access. Remaining applications should not be visible to this person. Like as, okay, only sales and then service, talent acquisition. Remaining applications like Story Pulse, marketing, community, site.com, charter, content, all tasks. These applications that this development user should not be able to access. How can we restrict? That? Now, how can we do that? Let me come out from this user account. Let's take this use case. Now, in this case, taking this case. Configure the profile level permissions of the development user to grant access on only sales, service, and talent acquisition process applications. I want to grant the access only on sales application, service application, and the talent acquisition process application. Only these three applications you can access. Remaining applications, this user should not be able to access. That is very important. So now, currently, this user is able to access all the features, all the functionalities, but I don't want to allow him to access all from now on. I want to make it visible. Okay? I want to make it visible only to this particular application features. Now, so in this case, how can we do that? Now let's see practically. So let me give you the navigation steps too. Log into the administrator account. And then go to the setup menu. Go to the administrator menu in the left panel. Go to the administrator menu in the left panel. And go to that manage users. Go to that users. Go to the development user record. Go to the development user records. Go to the development user record. Now, so go to the development user record and click on the profile. For example, that is CIS Salesforce profile. Click on edit button. Go to the apps section. Go to the apps section. Select the checkboxes for the applications. Sales, service, and talent acquisition process. Okay, and select the checkboxes for the remaining applications. And select the radio button, default radio button. Select the radio button for sales application to make the application as a default Cut this profile user. Now click on save button. Now click on save button. That's it. So this is the navigation process we have to follow in order to grant the access on the required applications. So whenever you are going to be logging into the development user, and then you can see only those applications. Now the testing process. Logging into the development user account. Expand the app launcher. App launcher. And the observation is we should be able to see only sales, service, and the talent acquisition applications. This is a functionality. This is how we need to test it. Okay. So if you know one thing, okay, one process, then remaining things will be same. Okay, will we see each and everything I will show. But the options are different, we'll see that. Okay. Now, so let's see how can we do this one. How can we grant the permissions on the required applications to the users? So now my requirement is I want to grant the access on only sales application, service, and talent acquisition process application. But currently he is able to see all the application, but I don't want to grant the access on all. I want to grant the access on only these three applications. Except these three remaining applications she should not be able to access. Then how can we state? Now let's see practically. So let's go to that. Go to the development user account. This is the development user here. Click on his profile. Currently, I'm in the administrator account. So now this is the development user record here. Go to this user's profile. Okay, this is the profile column is there. So now click on this profile name. Okay, this is the profile of the development user. So whenever if you want to grant or if you want to restrict the permission, then go to the user record and go to the respective profile. Now click on this profile. Click on this profile name. The profile will be getting open. In this profile, just click on this edit button and then we can see what kind of permissions we can grant. We can grant the permissions on applications. There is a section. We can grant the permissions on connected apps. We can grant the permissions on tabs. We can grant the permissions on administrative permissions. We can grant the permissions on general permissions. We can grant the permissions on objects. We can grant the permissions on operations on each and every object. 6 checkboxes are available each and every object. We'll see what exactly each checkbox represents. We can grant the permissions on session settings. We can grant the permissions on password policies. And then we can grant the permissions on Apex classes. And then we can grant the permissions on page layouts. We can grant the permissions on fields also. What fields can be accessible? We can grant the permissions on record types also. Record types also. We can grant the permissions on, when it comes down at the last, we can see. We can grant the permissions on login hours. We can grant the permissions on login IP ranges, Apex classes, Visualforce pages, external data sources, named credentials, and all these features we can grant the permissions with the help of this profile. Custom permissions, system permissions, everything we can able to grant the permissions. All these permissions we can grant at one place that is called as profile. So profile is the only place where we can grant the permissions on that features to this particular user inside our organization. Now, so now what is my requirement? I want to grant the permissions on only the three applications. One is sales, second one service, third one talent acquisition process. Except these three remaining applications, this user can't be able to access it.
Hello, hello.
Now, so in this case, let's go to that profiles option over there. In this profile, click on edit button. Click on this edit button in order to grant the permissions on this particular required applications. Just to go to this application settings section. So now these are the various applications are available inside your Salesforce instance currently. All tabs, Analytics Studio, and then standard app launcher, standard lightning bolt, commerce, standard commerce application, standard community, content, lightning scheduler. These are the lightning applications. And the standard marketing application. Standard means classic. And then Marcus Story Pulse, the custom application. Sales, okay, lightning sales application. And then normal classic sales application. Sales console, Salesforce starter. And then sample console. And then service. And then talent acquisition. These are the various applications are available here. Now from this one, what applications the user can able to access? We can decide this. For that one here, for these applications, we are having the checkboxes are available. Visible checkbox. This visible checkbox is used to indicate, okay, now what applications the user can access. We can able to select this checkboxes. Remaining checkboxes, we can able to unselect this. Now, so now what we need to grant now? I want to grant the access on standard sales application. Standard sales application means what? It is available in this place here. This is one. And then standard service application. and then talent acquisition process. This is the application over here. On these three, I want to grant, remaining all, I don't want to make it visible. So unselect this, simple. For this profile user, I don't want to grant the access on all. So now I'm granting the access on only this particular, okay, 3 applications. Remaining applications, I don't want to make it visible. I want to make it these 3. So now, in this case, from these 3, which application will be a landing application, default application we can select. Default means what? Whenever we are logging into that application, sorry, whenever we are logging into that user account, which application should be selected by default? For that one, we can decide either sales application or service or talent acquisition, anyone. We can decide that by selecting this radio button over here, which application you want to make it as a default. So that here we can able to select that default radio button also over here. Now, so now these are the 3 checkboxes which are selected. Okay, these are the 3 checkboxes which are selected over here. So now here in this case, so now these 3 applications will be getting visible to that user. From this one, okay, sales application is the default one. That's it, over. Everything is configurable. We no need to write any additional code. Just click on save button. Now, so here the permissions we have granted on the application. Now, let's go to the testing process. Go to the development user account and let's log in into that. Go to the development user account, click on login. So now let's verify inside the app launcher what applications you can access right now. By default, it is showing that sales application over here. And when you expand this, we can see only that sales, talent acquisition, service. Remaining applications are not visible, like as Marcus Story Pulse, and then marketing application, content, Salesforce charter, and then communities, and then app launcher, and then we are having that alt tabs. All these applications are not visible. Only sales, service, and talent acquisition application will be accessible. So this user can access only this application. Like that, depends upon your requirement, we can grant the access on the required applications to the users. For the HR people, only HR related applications. For the finance people, only finance related application. And for the marketing people, only marketing related application. Like that, we can able to grant the access on the required application to the required team. That facility is available as part of Salesforce with the help of profile. Inside the profile, we can configure all these permissions at once. Okay, now this is how we are going to be granting the access on the applications to the users. Suppose, for example, let me come. Assume that I want to grant access on only talent acquisition application. Then what we can do? Simply go to that user's profile. Now, let me explain one more point. Who can grant all these permissions? Who can restrict all these permissions? Only administrator. Only the administrator can do all these things. Okay, so that if you want to grant some permissions or if you want to restrict some permission, first of all, log in into the administrator's account and then grant the permission or restrict the permission based on your need, and then log in into the respective user, test it. Okay, this is the process we used to follow. Now I want to grant the access on only talent acquisition application. Then how can we do that? Go to this development users profile, that is CIS Salesforce profile. Click on edit button. Now I want to grant access on talent acquisition process application only, not the remaining 2. So I'm making it as default. Remaining 2 checkboxes I'm unselected. Now currently he is having the access on only talent acquisition process application. That too, this is the default application. Now click on save. Now,
sir, I have one question, sir. A small question. If we make the profile as a standard user, can we change it to custom profile? Is it?
Yes, you can change. You can change that. Okay, you can change that. You can change that profile also, no problem.
Okay. How do we do that? Can you explain after the class if it is possible?
Yes, sure. I will do that. Okay, simply what we can do is just to go to that users. Okay, select that user to whom you want to change the profile. Okay, just to go to that, for example, development user. Click on edit link. You will be having the profiles option. Here, select your profile, whatever you want to do. Previously, you might have selected standard user, but don't select that one. Select your own custom profile, whatever we have clicked.
Okay, got it. Thank you, sir.
Now, so now let's log in into the development user account now. Click on login. Let's see what will happen in this case. Now tell me, do we have any option to see the app launcher over here? Previously, we are having that one small, okay, drop down is there like a sales, marketing, service, like that. Do you have that option? No, we don't have that option. Why? Because is you are having the access on only one application right now, that is talent acquisition process. This is that application. That's it. If you're having the access on multiple applications, then to switch from one application to another application, it is showing that app launcher menu over here. If you're having the access on only one application, then it won't provide any app launcher. Simply it will be displaying that application functionalities to you directly. This is a way we can grant the access on the required applications to the people. Okay, so depends upon the customer requirement, we can grant access on the required applications to the. Don't make all the applications to be accessible by all the people. So now depends upon their business, depends upon the requirement, we can grant access on the required applications to those. Okay. This is how we can able to grant the access on the application to the people.
I have one question.
Yes.
For example, Salesforce profile having 4 users. In that,
Okay.
3 users
Salesforce
access
profile will not be able to have 4 users because here Salesforce licenses we are having only 2. With those 2 licenses, we can create 2 users only, and that 2 your system administrator is already using 1 license, so 1 license is available with you.
in unlimited edition.
In unlimited edition, you will be having multiple profiles also, multiple licenses. Fine.
For example, Salesforce license in unlimited edition 4 users. In 2 users having 3 users access to 3 applications. In that 1 user want to access only 1 application.
Then,
sir, how can
what is now? Suppose, for example, assume that here 2 scenarios came into the picture. Whether all these 3 users are belongs to same profile, or 3 users are belongs to 3 different profiles. 2 scenarios.
Same profile.
Same profile. Now, in this case, if it is the same profile, then for 1 user, you want to grant access on only 1 application, and for the remaining 2 people, you want to grant access on 3 applications. Then at that time, we have to use a feature called as permission sets. Okay, whatever the common application you want to grant to all the people, okay, grant inside the profile level, and the remaining applications additionally, if you want to grant to the remaining 2 people, go with the permission sets. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
We'll see how to create the permission sets. We'll see that concept as well. The next one. So as of now, we have discussed how to grant the access on the applications to the users inside the organization that already we have discussed right now. The second. So by using this profile, we can specify what tabs to be get visible to the users. We can able to grant the permissions on the tabs also. With the help of this profile, we can grant the permissions on the tabs also. That means what tabs a user can able to see on the tab bar, we can see practically. So whenever we are going for the tab settings, on each and every tab, you will be having 3 permissions available. We are having 3 permissions available. First one, default on. Second one, default off. Third one, tab hidden. 3 options are available. So now we have, for every tab, you will be having three options are available: default on, default off, tab. So what do you mean by default on? What do you mean by default on? Okay. In this case, default on means what? By default, the tab will be visible on the tab bar. Okay, by default, the tab will be visible on the tab. And next, default off. Default off means what? So in this case, what do you mean by this default on? Default on in the sense, when coming to this tab, the tab will be getting visible to you on the tab bar by default. Okay. So now for the profile users, the tab will be visible to you on the tab bar by default. Now, default off in the sense, the tab will not be visible on the tab bar. Okay, the tab will not be visible on the tab bar, but that will be visible in the Alt tabs option. Okay, that will be visible on the Alt tabs option, so that we can add that tab on the tab bar again by using customize my tabs button. Third one, tab hidden. Tab hidden means what? This tab is completely hidden from you. That means the tab will not be visible on the tab bar, and the tab will not be visible inside the Alt tabs option. So that means you don't have the access on the tab. That is the functionality over here. Then in this case, how can we do? Now let's see practically over here. Okay. Now let's see what we can do. Now take a small use case. Configure the profile permissions for the development user to grant the tab settings as well. For the account, contact, opportunity, grant, default. For case and the solution, make it as for case and make it as default. For the solution, I'm making it as tab hidden. For solution, I'm making it as tab. These are the options I want to do. So now here in this case, what I need to do, I would like to grant the permissions on tab settings. So whatever the tabs are available on my tab bar, how to display it? That means what tabs to be visible for these profile users, and then what tabs should not be visible inside this tab bar, and then what tabs to be hide from this user, we can decide by using this tab settings option. Now, so I want to grant the permission just to go to that development users profile. For this development user, what is the profile that we have? That is CIS Salesforce profile. Open that profile. Now click on edit button. So go to the tab settings section. Here you will be having the tab settings section. Now for these tabs, you will be having, go to the accounts tab, you are having the three options: tab hidden, default off, default on. Now that means what? For each and every tab, you will be having these three options are available: default on, default off, and the tab hidden. So what exactly the default on? This default on is indicating this tab will be visible to the user on the tab bar by default. Default off means what? Off in the sense that will not be visible on the tab bar, but that will be available in the alt tabs option. Okay, in the alt tabs option, the tab will be visible by default. And from there, by using this customize my tabs button, we can add the tab onto the tab bar. If it is a tab hidden, tab will not be visible to you at all. You don't have the access on the tab, so that you can't see the tab again. You can't be able to access the tab. Now, so my requirement is what? Account and the contact and opportunity should be visible by default. Account is the default on, and the contact is default on, and the opportunity is default on. Next, the case is a default off. Go to the cases tab. I would like to make it as a default off. I'm indicating default off. And the solutions tab, I want to make it as tab hidden. That means this tab should not be visible at all. Okay, tab solutions, I'm making it as tab hidden. Now make it save. Now make it save. Now let's test this one. Go to the users, log in into the development user account. Let's see. Account tab is visible, contacts tab is visible, opportunities tab is visible. Okay, now then what about that case? So now when you click on this plus symbol, we can see the cases tab over here. Cases tab is visible to you in the alt tabs option. Now tell me, are you able to see the solution tab over here? Starting with yes. Do you have the solutions tab? No, because the tab is hidden over here. So this is how we can able to decide what tabs to be visible on the tab bar by default, what tabs to be visible in the alt tabs, what tabs to be get hide from the user. We can decide with the help of tab settings option also inside your profile level. This is how we can able to grant the permissions on tab settings inside your Salesforce instance. Okay, now. And then tomorrow we'll see some more permissions over here. Okay, how to do that one. The remaining permissions are very, very simple. We'll see how to do that one. Okay, what kind of permissions we can grant on each and every view object, and then we'll see everything one by one. Okay, tomorrow we have the session as usual at same time. Use the same meeting link for tomorrow's session also. Okay, Sunday will be the off, and then tomorrow we have the session as usual.